I want to talk about one of the most common questions I get asked either on the radio show or on the TV shows that I've done. Is it normal for puppies and young dogs to pee when they get excited? Excited, submissive urination. That's the way I talk about it. First, let's talk about the most common type of pee. Excitement urination. Generally, it's dogs under a year old, usually puppies, just as common in male dogs as female dogs. It makes no difference. Generally, most dogs will outgrow it by the time some of them are 4, 5, 6, 7 months old. But the problem is, if it's not handled properly by the owners, you can make the problem a lot worse than it is and make it a lot more difficult to resolve. Let's talk about it. Generally, as the dog gets older, usually with puppies, they have more control over their bladder. Generally, the excitement or nervous urination stops on its own, but not always. So let's talk about submissive urination as well. Usually it occurs with a shy dog, an anxious dog, maybe a dog that's afraid. Could be past conflicts the dog had as well. Maybe he's had bad experience in the past. When someone came home, they yelled at the dog, or even worse, hit the dog, or ignored the dog, or whatever. All of these things can lead to what we call submissive urination. If the dog was overly corrected, a lot of people, when the dog pees out of excitement, especially if it's an older dog, rather than just think it may outgrow it, they get angry, they yell at the dog. So that's one way you can make the dog even worse, is by correcting the dog for nervous urinating. Let's face it, he's already doing it because he's anxious and nervous. By yelling at him, you're just going to make the problem worse. I want you to take into consideration also the other thing that a lot of trainers and behaviorists advise: ignore it. Ignoring doesn't resolve it. In other words, by ignoring it, you're not letting the dog know what's going on. So ignoring it is not really the approach I take. I'm more apt to use a distraction approach. Generally, if I have a dog that's like this, especially an older dog, I'll find one item that this dog absolutely can't live without. Maybe it's a treat, maybe it's a toy, maybe it's a frisbee, whatever it is, I don't care. The only time the dog gets that item is when you come walking in. Why is that important? Because if it's such a special item and the dog doesn't have it all the time, when you come in, sure, he's excited to see you, but he's just excited about getting this item that he only gets for a few minutes when you first come home. And then after a while, take it away and put it back in the car till the next time you come home. Distraction is really critical. If you have the opportunity and you can take the dog right outside, better yet. Also, we all want to do this. I'm just as bad as anyone else. When I come home after a long day or wherever I was, I want, oh, I love you, and just hug and kiss and schmooze and whatever. Certain dogs you can do that with. I can do that with my two dogs, but it took me almost 2 years to get Molly and Willie to that point because they were so abused when I adopted them. So try to make your greetings as calm as you possibly can, and I invite you to educate your guests the same way. Now, with guests coming over, another thing you may want to try to do is have that treat or that special item so when the guest comes over, again, the dog is distracted a little bit. Other things you may not want to do. Again, it depends on the background of the dog, and as I said, so many of my listeners don't know the background because they've rescued or adopted their dog. Try not to reaching for the dog at first, especially that might make him nervous if he was abused in the past. And try not to bend over directly, and direct eye contact can sometimes freak a dog out if they've had abuse in the past. Almost every specific type of submissive urination can be rectified. In some cases, though, in severe cases, it could be a medical issue, something you'd want to check with your veterinarian. This can be resolved. It can be taken care of 99.99% of the time, unless there's a medical issue. So remember, puppies, sometimes they're going to pee for a while, especially, if they've been abused, but generally they outgrow it as they get older, as long as you're not overly reacting to it. By overly reacting in a negative way or overly reacting in a positive way, you're causing the same situation. So if you want to be able to walk in the house, take off your shoes without stepping in pee, follow my advice. You can have a pee-free greeting as well as anyone else. I'm Warren Eckstein.